Hey y'all, I'm coming today. Today is Sunday. This is a video that I have contemplated, whether I was gonna make or not. Um, this is a serious video. This is a military wife video. Okay, and over there in the corner, that's my husband's sleeping bag and the thing that it goes in because he was gone for training for a month, and I washed it and he just got to put it up. So that's what that army stuff is over there in the corner. um but like I said, I am doing a military wife video today. It is Sunday. We not too long got in from church. I'm in the process. If you see my nails, they're short. I'm in the process. I just cut all of my nails off, and I'm going to soak the acrylic off, and I'm just going to wear my nails for like a week, just to give them some time to breathe, because I haven't allowed my nails to breathe in a hot minute at least a year. Over that I have had, so I'm just gonna do that. I did order an acrylic a gel set that I ordered through a couponing group that I'm in, so I got it dirt cheap. It's the lamp, some polish, top coat, paint base coat, like a complete set. So I think what I'm going to do is just do gel nails for that week. So I'm not going to go to work with just nothing on my nails. But anyways, like I said, this is a serious video. I contemplated even doing the video because when it comes to military stuff, I am very like pick and choose what I talk about. I talk about stuff in general that everybody needs to know, like how to apply for housing, what was like, being a wife, with my husband going through basic training. I talked about what it was like, while he was deployed. So I've done military wife posts before, but today this is a little bit different. I see a lot of people making videos as far as the military, and they talk about, I feel like people talk about a lot of the good stuff. I think, the benefits, the money aspect. I don't think people talk about the negatives. As I'm talking, I just thought about something. I'm just jotting it down so I can make sure I write it, because I wrote some little notes, but I just thought about one other thing also. Basically, we are an Army family. We have an Army family for almost 3 years. February will be 3 years. We have been here at our duty station for 2 years. His AIT was, kind of lengthy. It was it was a while. So it was like he was there for almost 5 months. So yeah, February will be a year. So far we have no major problems with the military. My husband, we knew where he was going into. It's not like we had a fantasized view of what the military was. So I do want to say that. But in this video, I'm going to talk about like some of the negative sides of the military. First of all, I always, anytime I make a army wife, a military video, I always say that my experience is from that of a wife. We were already married when he went in. We had our second anniversary while he was in AIT. So when he actually swore in to the military, we had been married a year and, let's see. We had been married a year and 8 months when he actually swore in. Yeah. Or a year and 6 months, I think. So it's not like, so we knew, we were already married. So everything I talk about, but I do want to talk today more. I'm going to talk about wife stuff, but I also want to talk about girlfriend stuff. Okay, Number one thing, this is for if your spouse, well, your boyfriend, fiance, spouse is even just thinking about going into the military. My husband and I, we talked first, but I let him know that, I stood behind whatever decision he made, as long as I could go with him, and we talked about the benefits. We did talk about, the negatives, which I'm going to talk about in this video, but we talked about the benefits and what it means for ourselves, as far as our marriage and our future children. So our future family. So our family now, which is me and him, and our future family with with children, which I'm going to talk about that as well. So we talked about everything, but I let him know that I stood behind him, and I'm very proud of him for the sacrifices that he has made. Because it was a lot, as far as dropping weight and everything. Now, the reason I say I feel like you need to talk. Now, if you meet somebody and they're already in the military, then I'm gonna talk to you about that. But if you are deciding, hey, I may go in, or my boyfriend, fiance, whatever may go in, y'all really need to talk about, is the military for you? The military is not for everybody. Out of the country, I think it's like maybe 1% out of the entire population of the United States. Less than 1% actually serve in the military, because the military, we all know we all know somebody in the military, but not everybody joins the military. It's not for everybody. Yes, there are some parts of the military that is extremely fun and rewarding, and beneficial. One of those is the healthcare. I'm not sure, my husband's active duty, so I'm not sure how it works for people in the reserves, but active duty, active duty, we get TRICARE. When he first went in, I had, when he was in basic, I had like one kind of TRICARE, but once he was actually, once he was in an AIT, once he was in AIT, he was done with basic. I switched over, and now I have TRICARE Prime, I think is what it's called, which is like the of TRICARE. Great insurance. We are, taking, I've said it in previous videos, I have PCOS, and we are just now getting ready to, we just got the referral this week to go to the fertility doctor, and we are going, from what the lady told me, which the nurse who called me, our fertility doctor is going to be at a, I never said where we're stationed, but where we're stationed, they send people to somewhere that's like an hour away, and it is a very, very good hospital. It has a very good children's hospital. Really like one of the top in the country. And if their children's hospital and pediatrics is that good, then I already know that the the fertility portion of it has to be top notch. That's a blessing. Back home, I would not have been able to go to this place with the insurance and stuff that I had. So that is a blessing. So one of the major benefits of the military is the insurance, housing, the check part. I think a lot of times when people are looking at the military, they think about those things first. But the reason I say, is the military for you? It's very stressful for the soldier, of course, but even as a wife or as a girlfriend, it's stressful because, my husband, when he went to basic training, I was home, so yes, I missed him, but I was home. It wasn't, that bad, because I had family. When he went to AIT, I was still home. And luckily, his AIT was at Fort Gordon, which is in Georgia, and we're from Georgia. So I had the luxury of going every month. I would take the drive. It was like 3.5, almost 4 hours away. I would drive because we're from South Georgia, and Fort Gordon is Augusta, which is more closer around Atlanta area. So I would drive. I think it's like, I can't remember. It was between 3 and 4 hours. I would drive every month and go see him. And I would stay the weekend. I would stay in a hotel on post. And at first, it's tiers, different tiers in AIT. At first, he wasn't able to leave post, but it didn't matter because I was staying there with him. I was on post, so he could come. He could spend the day with me at the hotel. We could do whatever. We could order food. We can go to restaurants on post. Then once he got, to the higher tier, he was able to go off post. I still would get a hotel on post, but we went to the movies. We went to a few restaurants off post. So we enjoyed, the time. Not everybody can do that. We just, we were blessed. We were lucky that he just, he was in Georgia because of his job. Now, when we got here, we were here for 4 months, and then he deployed. We found out he was deploying 2 months after we got here. We are in a completely different state. For me to go home, for us to drive home, it is 8.5 hours. It's eight, right at almost 8.5 hours. So yeah, we're not just, a couple of minutes away. No, it's a drive. And he was deployed for 9 months, and I was not with family. Now my mother and my nieces did come to stay the summer with me that year. I did go home, but I had to travel. I just wasn't with family automatically. We had to make accommodations and travel so that I wasn't too lonely. That's one thing that I don't think people take into consideration. The military it can be a blessing, because for us it is a blessing, but at the same time it is a very lonely lifestyle at times. Not all the time, because anytime I do a military video, I always say that this is not a regular 9 to 5 job. It's not. My husband was deployed for 9 months, but he just went for training for a month, to a couple of states over, so he wasn't here. There are times when they do training at the post, at your actual duty station, where they go in the field and he's gone for days or weeks at a time. So no, he's still, where you're stationed at. So he's not deployed or anything, but he's still gone for training. So I think that's something that you have to take into consideration. Can you deal with it being lonely at times? I mean, they are possibly talking about deploying again, and my husband's unit is one of the units that's possibly going to get deployed again. He's been home for a year, and here it is, he's possibly going to deploy again next year. We don't know. We're just waiting and see. Hopefully, I'm praying that he doesn't. I am. I really pray that he does not deploy. Because, here we are, trying to take, we're taking steps to start our family. So I don't want him to deploy. But it's a possibility. That's one of the harsh realities of being with somebody that's in the military. When, Uncle Sam says go, they have to go. So can you deal with that? Can you deal with being separated from family? One thing that I don't think people really talk about a lot, but an issue that is in the military is suicide. Where we are stationed, recently there has been a number, more than 2. One is shocking, but more than 2 suicides here. You know, it can be attributed to a number of things. Maybe, you know, the guys don't want to be deployed. I don't know. But it's, you have to look at, can I deal with it? It's one thing. I mean, being around family, I think we take that for granted. It's one thing when you're around your family, you have your family, but it's different when, I know, like, you may go away to college, you know, and for some people that's their first major experience of not being around families when they go off to college. But the military is a lot different, because when it comes to college, you know, if you have the funds, you know, you can travel back home. Depending on how far you are, you may be able to go home every other weekend or every month. But with the military, depending on how far you are, that there's just not an opportunity, because it's not really plausible to go. Like right now, my husband has a 3-day. He has a 3-day weekend. You know, he was off. He's off Saturday, Sunday, of course, and he's off tomorrow. I mean, it doesn't really make sense for us to drive 8 hours and then 8.5 hours, get there tired, and, you know, try to enjoy ourselves for like a day or so, and turn back around and come right back. That just really doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So you have to, you know, you have to see, can I handle being away from my family? Is it going to be too much stress? Can I handle the pressure? It's a lot of pressure being in the military. It is. Another thing, how strong is your relationship? I am going to come back to the suicide, because like I said, I pick and choose my words, you know, because stuff, you know, some stuff is sensitive. I do pick and choose my words, so I will come back to that. But how strong is your relationship? You know, I know they say absence makes the heart grow fonder, but another problem that this problem people talk about with the military is infidelity. There is cheating. Cheating goes on because people, you know, both parties, husband and wife, you know, they are two husbands or two wives, you know, whatever's your situation. People get to the point where they're like, I'm tired of being by myself. I'm tired. Oh, they're always gone. They're always, you know, it's the mentality of the mission. The mission comes first. Whatever the mission is, it comes first, and people get tired of that. So you have to look at, is my relationship really strong enough to survive the military? And you know, is it going to be a real, like, healthy relationship? You know, not, oh, we just together, but I'm cheating, he cheating. No, I'm talking about a real relationship. Is it strong enough to survive the military? One of my husband's sergeants, he was cheating, and him and his wife, they have 3 daughters. He was cheating. She was like, well, no, we're gonna separate. It was crazy to us because she left from here where we're stationed. He stayed, and he was moved in with his mistress and her kids. And I mean, the mistress thought he was going, the mistress, excuse me, is actually in the military also. So she's stationed here. She thought he was going to leave his wife. No, he was just messing with her for a time. Eventually he did go back. He did go back to his with his wife. He actually got promoted. He got ranked up. So he had to go to school. He was already a sergeant, but he got ranked up, and he had to go off to school. And him and his wife, while he was away, they talked, they reconciled. So now he's at a whole different duty station, but his wife and their children are with him. And one of the conditions is she don't want to come back here, period. when he, I mean, which he's been in for like 12 years, but when he goes to somewhere else, like to his, after this duty station, when they go somewhere else, she don't want to come back here. Like, we're still in the South, but you have to realize, if you are a military wife, you know, or your boyfriend or fiance is in the military, the duty stations are not like in major cities. They're not. Like Augusta, Fort Gordon, where he went to AIT. Augusta is not a huge major city in Georgia, but Augusta is less than an hour or so from Atlanta. So you have to look at it like it's going to be small town. Even like in New York, there's from Fort Drum, I think. It's not in the heart of New York City. It's in New York. So it's probably, like an hour or so from New York City. I say that to say that in these towns, you have women that are either, in the military themselves, or that they just live in that small town, and they would love to get somebody in the military, or they would love to get pregnant from somebody in the military, which is sad but true because of the benefits. So infidelity is a major problem in the military. You have to say, hey, is my relationship strong enough, to survive? Do I trust my husband with my heart? Totally. I know my husband would never cheat on me. I would never cheat on him. When he was deployed, it wasn't a problem, because his job, we still talked every day. We Skype. We saw each other every single day. But let's say he had a job, because he works with computers. But let's say he had a job that it's not an office type job. And let's say he was infantry and we couldn't Skype and talk, like computers and stuff were not a part of his actual job. It still wouldn't be a problem for us. I still would not go out and cheat. Oh, I'm lonely, so I'm going to go out and cheat. But unfortunately, that goes on. So you have to look at what kind of relationship do you have before the military, because the military is pretty much is either going to strengthen, if you have a strong relationship, it's going to strengthen what you already have, because you already have a strong foundation. But if you have a weak relationship where y'all have had infidelity and things like that, the military is just going to highlight that, period. There's no getting around it. Like I said, don't just look at the military, for the benefits. Look at the fact that it's going to be some lonely nights. It is. It's going to be some lonely nights. It's going to be some crying yourself to sleep nights. I mean, it is. I mean, especially when you first get in. Like when they were getting deployed, the sergeant, the one who him and his wife went through and got back together, we all had like a cookout, get together type thing. And she was like, oh, he been deployed. This is his 4th deployment. He been deployed. Oh, we were. So for her, it was nothing. But for all the rest of us, wives, this was pretty much like our first deployment. Even people that had been in like a year or two or a few years longer than my husband, they had looked up and they hadn't deployed. So all of the rest of us wives, we were all kind of in the same boat. Like, oh my God, our spouse is deploying. So I had many of crying myself to sleep. I had many a teary night. If my husband were deployed, which again, I'm praying he does not, but if he were to deploy again, I'm going to cry again. I mean, it's my husband, it's my baby. He's not here, I think that if he was deployed, I think that those tears would be just tears of frustration, because we really want to start a family now. So, another thing, like I said, this goes to the strength of your relationship and what kind of relationship that you have. Like a week or so ago, there was some domestic violence in my neighborhood. My husband was knocked out. He was asleep and I was watching TV and I heard sirens. I mean, just a lot of sirens. And we live, like where we live, the post that we live on is huge. This is like this post is the size of like some super, super small town. Like I know a town that's back home, and yeah, when I describe it to people that's back home, I say, okay, well, it's about the size of, this town. because you have the part where people live in, the main part where we, the residential part where we all live in, which is itself huge. It can take you, there's 10 gates here, so it's huge. It's not like, oh, 2 gates and that's it. But they also have where people don't live, where they have horseback riding. They have where you can go hunting, you can go fishing. There's like acreage, like countless numbers of acreage that this post sits on. So it is very big here. So sometimes I may hear a siren or a fire department, fire truck, and I'm like, oh, it's over. I just hear it in the distance. But this particular night, I mean, for like 3 minutes straight, all I heard was sirens. And I'm like, I know this is not the TV. So I paused the TV. And I'm like, and I'm waking my baby up like, baby, something going on, something wrong. I mean, when you live on a military post, like you be on alert. Like you see those movies, like, I mean, yeah, there's movies, but like Red Dawn and stuff like that. So you always be like, look, is something going on? Do I need to know something? So you always on alert. And this particular night, I was like, well, what's going on? So like I said, I paused the TV and I looked out the front. I didn't see nothing. So I looked at the back and I saw police lights. So it was cold. It was really cold because it's starting to get cold here. I wrapped myself up in a blanket and I was like, wait a minute, this is right here, like right by my house. So I walked outside and I couldn't see. So I said, I'm going to go to because we're in a duplex. I said, I'm going to go to the house next door, which is empty. Y'all, I walked and I got to where I could see. And I wasn't the only person out there. There were other people out there. Two of the neighbors, like this guy, he lives across the street, and I think it's his brother, his cousin or something lives with him. He's not in the military, but the guy who lives there is. Him and his friend or cousin or whatever, they were standing on the other side of the street. And then 2 spouses, one of the wives, her husband was deployed with my husband. Her and another wife, they came. And we all like was standing there in awe. And we saw the wife, who, come to find out, both the husband and the wife are both in the military. She came out. They had to carry her out. Like, she was barely walking and she was just boohoo crying, and they put her on a stretcher. And then the guys that were standing on the other side of the street came over to where we were, because we was all like, y'all know what's going on? And they were like, no, but we saw the husband. They put him on the stretcher. Come to find out, the spouse, the girl that's, like my neighbor a couple of doors down, she told us that one of her friends lived in front of them. They lived here on post. Now, they were also my neighbors. They lived in front of this couple. Come to find out, y'all, they always fighting. The MPs are always called to their house. They're always fighting. So it's a lot of domestic violence that goes on. It can be, I mean, because it's stressful. It's stressful. And if you are with somebody that really can't handle stress, that can't deal with it, and y'all relationship is already kind of not good and it's borderline on domestic violence, the military might heighten it. I was shocked. I did not know. I never saw MPs going to their house. But yeah, so that is something that happened recently. That, like, the suicides that's been going on here, and then that domestic violence is something that made me say, you know what? Because I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but I was like, nah. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Another thing that you have to realize, if your soldier, for me it's my husband, if they are doing what they are supposed to do, when you get in the military, you are supposed to progress. You are supposed to rank up. You're not supposed to just stay whatever you go in. My husband has already ranked up since he was in basic training. He didn't go in at a base level. He went in with some rank, but he's already ranked up, and we are gearing up for him to rank up again. Yes. Now, once he actually ranks up, then I will say it. But yeah, we are getting ready for him to rank up again. But with that ranking up, it comes responsibility. So just because, let's, like, when we first got here, um, like I said, he went in with some rank, but he had responsibility. Um, but it's like now that he's ranked up, he's already ranked up, and he's getting ready to rank up again, and that they know he's getting ready to rank up again. He's getting more and more and more responsibility. So it's coming to where he was normally coming home, where he's here, he's not deployed, he's not doing training. I can normally count him to be home 5:30. I could count it by clockwork. 5:30 he's home. Now the days are getting a little bit longer. He's, instead of, I'm just leaving the office now, some of those things that have to be done after hours, he's having to have the responsibility to do them. He has men under him now, so yeah, as you keep that in mind, not only is it times where they're deployed and they're doing training, but as your soldier ranks up, that's something else you have to accept. That's something else that takes, a little bit of quality time from you guys. But back to the suicide, this is going to be the last thing I talk about. Where I work, I see guys that come in all day. I work here on post. I see guys that come in all day, stressed, aggravated. Oh Lord, this one boy, I don't know him. I don't know what he was going through. But honestly, and I'm being honest, I am a praying person. I never come on YouTube and push my religion on anybody. But this particular guy, it was him and his friend. And he just looked so down. I mean, really. And his friend was like, so he didn't have his ID or something. I can't remember exactly what happened, but the guy ended up, he walked out, and the friend was like, he apologized. He was like, hey, I'm sorry. He's really, really going through it right now, and I'm really trying to be there, for him, as a friend, to kind of uplift him. And when he walked, so he apologized for his friend. Like I said, I don't know what the guy was going through, but honestly, when he walked out, I said a prayer for him. I said, Lord, whatever he's going through, just help him. I don't know this man or nothing, but this is stressful. Of course, we all know, being, with the military, you have people that die in combat and stuff like that, but you have to also look at people who commit suicide. It's serious. There is always a way to get out of the military. Suicide and hurting yourself, they don't play with that. No, they do not. Ever since the major wars, the recent wars, and people coming back with PTSD and stuff like that, they do not play when it comes to mental health, period. That is something that the military is very serious about, even for spouses, for children. There are countless counseling. You can do a lot. You can go to therapy. You can go to family counseling. It's countless stuff that you can do with the military that is all free. But it's never a situation where your back is just up against the wall to the point where there's no other choice but to commit suicide. There's always a way out. So even if, like, I say, think about that. Think about how, because it takes a strong person. You have to be mentally strong to be in the military, because it's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of sacrifice on your body. It's a lot of sacrifice on your time. It's a lot of sacrifice being away from your family, especially if you have a family. Like right now, my husband, we're looking to, it's almost time for him to re-enlist. I love the church we go to. I love the church we go to. We have a very God-rooted church that we go to. It's not a lot of mess. It's not a lot of drama. It's a Bible based church. And if you have been in church, you know what I'm saying. You know, you have some churches that, I mean, unfortunately, it's a lot of drama, it's a lot of mess. That's not where we go here. It's not. But unfortunately, you know, we have already made a decision that we're leaving here. You know, so that's a part of the military as well. I mean, I love the church. I love the members. I love going to the church. But we're only going to be here for about a year or so. We know where we want to go. I mean, we know where we want to go next, where we want to try to go. I mean, and that's a part of the military as well. Are you strong enough to do that? Like one of the guys that works for my husband, he's single. You know, he's a single soldier, but he's stationed here. I think he's not too far from his family here, but he's getting ready to go to Hawaii. I mean, we have a couple of people that we know that have gone to Hawaii. Some other friends of ours, they're getting ready to go to Washington State, which is, I mean, the wife, she's from the South. I think she's from Alabama. I think they're going clear across the country. You know, are you strong enough for that part of the military? I mean, I have a friend, him and his family just got to Germany. They're from the same small town that we're from. Grew up together, same street, and now they are in Germany. I mean, so that's a blessing to be able to travel, but you have to look at, you're traveling and you want to travel, but you're away from your family. Are you strong enough for that? So y'all, that's my thoughts. You know, this video, I wanted to do more of a serious video. Like I said, this is just stuff that I have personally, now I don't know any other people that have committed suicide, but the domestic violence thing, it was right a few houses down, and I was in total shock. So yeah, this is more of a serious, longer video. It's more of a serious video. You know, like I said, if you are going into the military, please research it. Don't just research your MOS, which that's your job. That's very important. If you make the decision you want to go in, know what job you're gonna have, because sometimes recruiters will lie to you and tell you, oh, know what job you're gonna have. Research it, study, do the best. If you have to have a certain number on the testing to get that particular job, study, do the best you can to get that job. So know what you're going into, but also look at it, the mental part of it. If you are a girlfriend or a fiance, and your fiance or boyfriend has, or partner is thinking about going into the military, if they're just thinking about it, and you don't know, hey, is it what I want to do? If they're just thinking about it, go ahead, look at it for yourself. Also evaluate it for yourself. It is not what you see on TV. It is not all Army wives, the good episodes of Army wives where they're all happy and sitting around drinking mimosas and their husbands are home. No, look at all of it. Look at them times when the husband's deployed, somebody hurt, somebody died. Like, the military is so much more than what you see on TV. And try to evaluate for yourself, is it something that you can deal with? I mean, there are some spouses, relationships, like one of the guys my husband works with, he's dating a girl, which we don't really understand why they're still together, because he's not trying to get out the military. She don't want to have nothing to do with the military. She don't want to deal with the lifestyle. She don't want to deal with the things that come with being the moving, the trainings, the going, the this, the that. She don't want to have to deal with all that. So me and my husband, like, why y'all together? Because if both of y'all are really adamant about y'all positions, how far can y'all go? So if you are someone who, you meet somebody there in the military, don't just look at the benefits part. Like, look at to see, hey, am I going to be okay with being by myself for 9 months, a year and a half, if they are deployed? Like, look at it. Because, honey, it's what you make of it. It is a very rewarding life. It is. I'm not down in the military. I love the military. I love that my husband is in the military. So I'm not, honey, we are trying to retire. So I'm not downing the military whatsoever. But I'm trying to make you be realistic on, is it something that you can handle? For us, it is. But it's not for everybody. So that is what I will close. The military is not for everybody. And before you decide that you want to marry someone, or you want to marry someone, or you want to join yourself, decide, is it for you? Like, decide, really, is it for you? Because it's not for everybody. But as always, y'all, I do thank y'all for watching. I make videos strictly because I like doing them. Like I said, this video I have wanted to make for a while, but I had to pick and choose, because some stuff like suicide and domestic violence, it's touchy. But I thank y'all for watching.